Welcome into XCOM's Terror from the Deep Episode 0. I'm going to show how to find and install the game for play. We will not be doing any gameplay in 0. Wait for 1 if you want to see gameplay. But if you want to know how to load this to play it, here we go. First things first, you have to own Terror from the Deep. You can get it from, I got it from Steam. Just go into a Steam store here, type in XCOM, do your search, and you'll get a list of things. You'll get XCOM 2, Enemy Unknown, Enemy Within. There is a complete pack, which I think is a little bit further down here. XCOM, yeah, the complete pack here. I'd suggest that if you like XCOM, get the complete pack if you haven't got any of them yet, because it has UFO Defense, which I just did a playthrough on. It has XCOM Terror from the Deep, which we're about to do. And Terror from the Deep is really a reskin of XCOM UFO Defense. It's just placed in a different locale. So this storyline has changed. The assets have changed. The underlying engine and all of the bugs that came with it are the same, because when this was put together, Microsoft had purchased the rights to XCOM and told the developer, you have 6 months to give me another game. And they're like, I can't do 6 months. How about we just reskin the original with the new storyline, and then we'll work on another one while we're doing that. And that's when they went off and they worked on Apocolypse. Interceptor and Enforcer I've attempted to play in the past and have failed miserably. The games are they're difficult to play, and also I feel like they're ripoffs. They're cheap ripoffs. But all that said, if you buy these separately, you're talking $15. If you buy them as a pack, you're talking $15. So what the hell, right? So get that, download it. Once it's in your library, you'll have your XCOM Terror from the Deep. Go ahead and install it. And once you've installed it, we'll come back to this in a minute. You're done there. Now, next thing, go into Google. Type in OpenXcom TFTD, Terror from the Deep. And you will get these options come up. You were looking for the OpenXcom. Go in here where it says Open Terror from the Deep, now available in the nightlies. Click on that, and you will end up here. This is the OpenXcom project. This was done by fans of the game who went in and revitalized it for Windows, because it used to be a DOS-based game. So they made it playable in Windows. They put in a lot of fixes to it so that it plays more consistently. There's some things that happen, like, for example, difficulty in XCOM Terror or XCOM UFO Defense. If you up your difficulty after you go into your first battle and come back out, it resets the difficulty to easy. So it fixes things like that. In here, you will see, and if I go, this will be your actual screen that you come to, Open XCOM. Come over here to downloads, click on downloads. You'll get this download screen, click on the nightlies. You'll get here, you want to download either the zip or the exe file. It's up to you. I did both, but I do have the exe file that I preferred to use because I trust the site. So once you've downloaded it, you'll be into your files. So then in your file explorer, go into downloads, find it, and go ahead and run this, or expand and install the game from the compressed file. But if you just run it, you will create a database. You'll create a file somewhere, a folder somewhere. I created mine under OpenXcom here, and it will install all these things for you. So now you've got OpenXcom installed. You've got your Terror from the Deep installed. They're not yet the same thing. Once you've done that, the next thing you need to do is you need to populate the Terror from the Deep folder with the Terror from the Deep files. You get those from the game, and they do this so that they're not having copyright issues. You have to buy the game to run the OpenXcom version. So you have to buy the game, go back in here to your Terror from the Deep, do a right click on it, go under Manage, go to Browse Local Files. It'll take you right to where your XCOM Terror from the Deep is installed on your system. Once you've got that, go into the TFD file here, and you can, they tell you not to, but you can take the whole thing here, copy it down into the Terror from the Deep files here for OpenXcom. Drop them right in here and replace everything. Once you've done that, now you can run the game from, if I go up one to just the OpenXcom, you'll see the OpenXcom thing here. I'm going to right click this. I'm going to go ahead down here to show more options. I'm going to create a shortcut. There it is. I'll just move this over here to my desktop. There it is. Double check that you have underneath properties. So I'm going to right click it. I'm going to click on properties. And it's going to say start in. It needs to start in the OpenXcom directory. If you don't do this, like for example, if I try to start this from the icon that's created by Steam, it will not start correctly. And you'll get some really weird looking stuff going on. Now that I know it's in the right spot, I can start up the game. Just click on OpenXcom. Here you go. You can hear it in the background. It's the Terror from the Deep version. There we go. So we got the it says OpenXcom at the top. That's what we want. Click on mods just to make sure you've got Terror from the Deep selected. You can, if you have your XCOM installed here, you'll also have the option to use the XCOM UFO Defense. And then in here in the setups, you're going to have a variety of options to do with your game to modify it. So can aliens pick up weapons? Yes. I'm going to say yes. Typically in XCOM, when the aliens panic or you mind control them and make them throw away their weapons, they will walk back and forth across their weapon and never pick it back up again. Seems kind of silly. So now we're saying, yes, the AI is, aliens are intelligent enough that once they've picked it, they've thrown it down, they can pick it back up again. Do I want demigod ability, which is basically spawn as many aliens as possible in each episode? Nah, I want it to just give me the way it would normally give it to me. I'm not going to limit craft items in my craft to 80. I'm not going to be go bananas, but I don't want to be limited that way. I want to have some options available to me. Unlimited waypoints apply to things like the torpedoes here, which was the smart bomb in XCOM UFO Defense. You're limited to 9 waypoints before you're done, so you have to make whatever it is work within 9. This says you can do unlimited. I prefer to keep myself limited to 9. It makes things a little bit more interesting. Strategy core, swap, small USOs. This is just a quality of life thing. We're going to swap out the images so they look more consistent. I'm not going to do gun melee, allowing you to do some stuns just with the pistols in hand. If I'm going to stun, I'm going to have a stun item with me. I am going to enable, again, the psionic line of fire. I did this in the XCOM UFO Defense that I just did. Typically in XCOM, if you have the capability to do psionics, as long as somebody has line of sight, you have the capability to use your psionics. So it's like, hey, Joe, where is he? He's left of the... No, I'm not doing that. If I'm going to use my psionics on a guy, I got to see him. But that also applies to the aliens as well. If they see me, they have to see me to actually use their psionics. I find that the psionic game breaks, at least to me, it seems to break the overall gameplay. Because it gets to the point where you just start taking over everybody's mind and walking these guys around, and it becomes too simple of a game for me. So we're going to make line of sight. Defense damage, UFO defense damage model. So in the UFO defense, it would do modify things down from 0 to 200% damage. I'm going to do this instead of to 50 to 150. I'd like a little bit more consistency in my gameplay. If I hit, give me something. I'm okay with a graze of 50%, but I'm not okay with I did no damage. I made the shot and I did nothing. No, give me something. There's some other modifiers here that people will find available. Let me bring this down here a little bit so we can just see these things. Always daytime, always nighttime. Day and night cycles are an important aspect of the game. Line of sight is much harder, of course, at night. The aliens have better night vision than you do. So if you're not careful, they will see you 2 to 3 hexes before you see them. And so they generally get a chance to shoot you before you get a chance to shoot them. Hence the difference between day and night. I'm not going to force one or the other. I'm not going to let my transports also be a fighter. I can increase the amount of damage the high explosives do so that I can blow through a wall, but I'm going to leave it in its default mode. There's also the improved Gauss, because some people found the Gauss to be underwhelming. But it is what it is. I'm going to leave it alone. Dart pistol auto shot, rapid fire. No, I'm not going to do this either. I understand why some people would want to do this, but if I'm going to be carting a pistol around, I'm going to be bang, bang, bang. I'm not gonna. It's not an AK-47. Starting defensive base moves the starting subpanes up. So this is in the original game. Your base has subpens, one center top, and two on either corner at the bottom, with your lift in the middle. When you get invaded, when you get attacked by aliens, when you have to do base defense, they only can come in through the elevator or the subpens. And well, in this case, they're coming in from everywhere. I don't like that. One of the first things I did in the beginning when I used to play this game before any kind of mods is I would redesign my entire base in the first month and a half. I tore up everything and put it back down. It meant that I started slower because I spent a lot of money redesigning the base, but I felt like, no, this is a stupid build. I wouldn't have done this in the first place. I'm going to go back and do it myself. Now I don't have to worry about it. So they're just saying here, you can put all three up there at the top with the regular base build if you want to. I'm going to build my own base. So that's not going to be a thing. Starting defense improved base combines the starting defense base mod with the starting improved base mod. Starting improved base gives the starting base a wide sonar, so this gives you a leg up. It gives you a wide sonar, alien containment, and more engineers and scientists. That's all right. I'll do the harder start. Stat strings add abbreviated notations at the end of the soldier's name to highlight the soldier's notable statistics. You know what? I'm going to actually turn that thing on. I hadn't done that before, so we'll give that a try. And then the Triton weapon slot. Okay, so we're good. Starting defense base with the starting. No, there's the. Where's the? I want to get in there. We'll make sure that I can do my base build in the beginning. Okay. Options underneath video. I've got mine set to 16 by 980. If you've got the OpenXcom installed correctly, you don't have to mess with DOSBox. If you're messing with DOSBox, you've done something wrong. Okay. I'm going to leave this windowed, and then I'm going to scale this up to 1.5 and 1.5. Otherwise, it gets to be kind of tiny. And hell, I need glasses anyway. The last thing I need is some tiny pixel getting me screwed over in the end. Music volume for here, I would just say bring your music down a bit. I'm bringing it down so it doesn't overwhelm. I don't need to deal with the controls at all. The geoscape side, how fast is scroll speed, how fast does the clock go, dogfights happen how so fast. I'm going to click in all of this stuff down here. This is global details. Show me the countries, show the funding on the country globe, and then show me radar ranges on the globe. It'll give me a circle when I'm looking to put down my base. And then show me the flight paths. So if I see something going around, I predict where it's going to be going so that I have an option to intercept manually, or I can just, of course, click intercept and it'll do it on its own. And then on the UI, I'm going to have it show me my funds so that I can see everything. And these are all quality of life. I suggest you turn those things on. Battlescape. The only thing I would say here, leave the fire. Don't go crazy with fire speed or scroll speed. The fire speed is how fast your bullet tracks across the screen. Or the AI's bullets track across the screen. You're going to want to see these things move. One, I want to see my things go across the screen so I have, oh, that's going to hit, or no, that's not hitting. But also, if something comes off from out of the dark and shoots at me, I would like to see where the shot came from rather than just having one of my guys go, and then, well, okay, there's a guy out there somewhere. I want to have some indication of where it's coming from. How fast to move the aliens. I don't want them moving super fast, because if they move super fast, I can't figure out where they were during my movement. During your turn, you get to move, and during their turn, they have hidden movement, and the only time you get to see what they've done is if they actually come into view of one of your characters, and then you get to see them move. So you can imagine a guy stepping out of the door and going back in again. There's this flash on the screen of the map where the guy steps out, and then he steps back in, and it all goes black again. So I want enough time to be able to see that and figure out where I'm going to be going. Player movement, I'm okay kicking that up a little bit because I know where I'm going. The only reason you don't want to turn it all the way up is a right click cancels movement in movement. So original XCOM, once you clicked on something, you went. In this one, if you start moving and you're like, no, I don't want to go there, you can right click, cancel the rest of your movement, and it's like that's where you intended to go all along. Sounds good to me. UI options, give me some tool tips. Let me know. Give me a pop-up whenever my guy dies. Thanks. Let me know about it. And then also on the UI, show me how many time units I have when I'm moving. You'll find that one of the things your characters can do is called a reaction shot. if you have enough time units to shoot an alien during his turn, if he steps out of the door, you have a chance to shoot him if you have the time units. That's also dependent upon one of your stats called a reaction. So if you have enough reaction stat and he stays out there long enough, you get to take a shot at him. The longer he's out, the more likely it is that you are to shoot him, assuming that you have time units left. Well, I want to see how many time units I'm consuming during my turn so that I leave enough to do a reaction shot on their turn if they pop themselves out somewhere. You can also add arrows on the ground to show, here's my pathing. I'm not going to go that far. I'm good. Underneath advanced, we're going to have to play the intro. Yes, of course, we're going to play the intro. Actually, the original XCOM UFO Defense intro to me is one of the best for intros to the games I've seen in a very long time, especially for back when it was originally created. It had a lot of momentum to it, even though it was all done in like pictures. I love the way they did that. I'm going to have an autosave every 5 minutes or every 5 turns or whatever. I'm not doing save scumming. Loading a game will reset the random generator seed. So what this means is XCOM did this. XCOM 2 does this. It actually does rolls, and then it stores up the rolls and consumes them as you go around doing things. So if you shoot a guy and you miss, and you go, well, screw that. Save, exit, reload, shoot him again. You'll get the exact same number on that one, and you will miss again. And you will keep missing no matter how many times you reload. Save scumming here will allow you to actually randomize that roll each time. So, I can save the game, reload it, shoot again, and now maybe I'll get a crit instead of a miss. No. If you're playing XCOM, man, no. Mouse wheel, fine. Values, maximum info screens. Inventory of various other screens will be displayed at full screen regardless of scale setting. Yes, we mentioned my eyesight. FPS limits if you need them. Geoscape. Whether we're going to do some scrolling, aggressive retaliation. So one of the missions that the aliens, they have like 6 or 8 missions they do. One of their missions is retaliation. On a retaliation mission, they'll send a UFO down. The UFO spends time trying to find where your base is because your base is just as hidden to them as theirs are to yours. And if he finds your space, then they launch an invasion of your base and you have to do a base defense. This is just, do they attempt to do it at all times regardless of their current mission? So it's basically, is every mission an alien retaliation mission or not? I'm going to say no, it wasn't in the initial one. Certainly if you want to turn up the difficulty, this would be one you'd want to set up. Custom your initial base. Here's where I'm going to be setting up my own base. So I will determine what my base looks like. Thank you very much. And we'll see how that looks in the first episode. Allow building queue. So this is basically a case of you can only build next to, except for the elevator shaft, you can only build next to a pre-existing built item. So your sub pen, your general storage, your laboratory, your, whatever. Building queue would allow you to say, I'm going to build something here, and then I want you to build something over here and save it. I don't need it. It's not that important. This is not really a long-term SimCity style build a whole bunch of stuff things. You will build in your base, but this will never really be an issue. Forced craft launch. If you get damaged on your craft, it is stuck in the sub pen until it's fixed. You cannot send it back out again until it's fixed, or until it's refueled, or it's reloaded or rearmed. Force a craft launch just allows you to ignore all that. I'm not going to do that because that was actually something in the original game that you did have to balance a little bit. It is possible you'll have 3 or 4 things come in, and so you'll have to pick, because once you've sent them out and they come back, the UFO is going to be gone before it gets back. Next is going to be storage limits for recovered items. So in other words, if I have 50 spaces back at base and I pick up, and I've used 40 of them, so I only have 10 spaces left, and I pick up 12 things in the battlefield, I have to pick, on return, I have to pick 2 spaces worth of stuff to throw out the door so I can keep the 10. Alien live sale allows the sale of live aliens. Yes, sure. I've got storage limits on, so they recommend it, and I will do this. Usually, if you got a live alien, you want to interrogate them. Usually, once you've interrogated an alien, it's done. Further interrogations yield no additional information. That is mostly true. Psionic training at any time in the original game, if you wanted to do psionic training at the beginning of the month, you would say, okay, well, here are the guys I'm going to throw into training. They virtually disappear for a month or two, and they will show up again after that with psionics. I'm going to say I can train them at any point in time. Realistic globe lighting, don't care. Psi strength evaluation, yes, please let me know what my guy's psionic strength is. It is very disconcerting to be working on a guy, you've got him all the way up to like maximum level, and then it turns out he's got like no psionic strength whatsoever, and every time he steps off the lander or out of the sub, some alien goes, "You're mine." Screw you. I want to know that first. Airborne transfers, can I redirect a UFO or a sub in flight or in whatever, in transit? Instead of coming back to base, I want to send it to a different base. Nah, transfers are fine the way we do them. Retain interrogated aliens. So once I've interrogated one, I can throw his body back into the stores. Yes, thank you. I want to keep him because I want the money. I'm going to sell his ass. Field promotions. This would mean that only the guys who are on the mission can get a promotion. Not something in the original game, and I'm not going to keep it either. So this is restricted also by the number of soldiers you have. You cannot have 8 guys and all of them be colonels. There's a structure that's being enforced, and so there has to be people underneath him. And so you basically, if you want to have nothing but colonels in your primary crew, you have to have a lot of soldiers throughout all of your other bases to be for them to report to, so that you can justify having colonels. Predict the UFO trajectory. Yes, this is akin to also showing my flight path. That way I can see my guy intercept his guy. We get into Battlescape. We'll invert drag scrolling. That's just your preference. Sneaky AI. We're keeping this one off, but in the original games, the aliens would basically just move wherever they're going. They don't care where you are. They move on their own. They dance to their own music. So this is one way to say, oh, you know what? The game's too easy for me. I want to make them sneaky. I might do this at some time in the future if this series turns out to be something people are really craving. You want me to do it again? I'll have to crank up all the difficulties again on that, and this will be one of them. But right now, I'm not doing that. UFO extender accuracy. So the accuracy of your shots drop off after a certain distance according to shot type. So basically, the further away you are, the harder it is to hit something. Not something in the original game. It is in XCOM 2, though. So if you play XCOM 2, the farther away somebody is, the harder it is to hit them. Makes sense, but again, we're going to keep it the way it is, the way the game was intended. Inventory stats. So this is just going to give me some additional inventory information on the inventory screen about the character. Enhanced soldier sprites. Sure, let them make them look like their inventory. This bugs a lot of people. Like Splattercat hates it when the sprites don't change. Instant grenades. We did this in the UFO Defense. We'll do it here. You can set the timer on your grenades to go off in so many turns. 0 turns would mean end of this turn. First 1 turn means, during the next aliens during their turn. And then 2, 3, 4, just, I want it to sit there for this long, and then I want you to explode it. 0 here with this immediate means when I throw it at 0, it explodes when it hits the ground. I like that partly because also I want to see the feedback of did I get him or did I not get him. I don't want to have to throw 3 or 4 grenades on one guy just to make sure he's dead. Save pre-primed grenades. Nah. In UFO Defense, I always started off my missions with a smoke grenade, and so that means I had to open the door, set the smoke grenade, prime it, then throw it, and the priming could take about half your time units available to you. So that is something that I'm not going to deal with. You can pre-prime them before, and then when you get off the sub, you just toss them. Explosion heights, 0 to 3. The original game had this at 0, so if you were on the first floor and you set off a bomb, it could wipe everything out on the floor. and the one up above was unharmed. I'm going to set this to a 2. I had it at 3 in UFO Defense, which is really just around. This is going to be more ovalish in nature, but at least now it'll do damage up and down. It could mean that on multiple floors, when I throw a grenade or throw something else that explodes, that I open up holes in the floor, and then aliens might drop down and cause problems. And they actually did it a few times in my UFO Defense run. Auto end the battle at the end? Nah. I mean, there's a convenience to this where, you know, I kill the last guy, it's all done. In the UFO Defense run I did, we didn't have this on, and so there were times where I would start moving. I had to move the rest of my guys because I wasn't positive he was the last one. Well, in this case, if he is, it's done. Smooth bullet camera. This is basically going to follow your bullet. So when you shoot, it'll move the map. I'd rather just have the bullet cross the map for me, so I'm going to leave that off. I don't need you to equip my guys. I'll take care of it. So new soldiers, I'll load them up, and then they'll stay that way. I don't want to confirm fire, too many extra button pushes. Allow weapon self-destruction. This is in XCOM 2. If they drop a weapon, it explodes, and so you just get pieces. You don't get a weapon to use. In UFO Defense, I think we played this. We didn't do this, and so it is possible for me to walk over the body of an alien, pick up his weapon, and keep shooting. I'm going to have him self-destruct. What the hell? Auto psi capture. So if I have psionics, I do psionically control an alien. He is the last guy. Game over. My battle's done. I don't have to shoot him or do some other thing with him to end the round. If I have him psionically captured, then he's captured. Psi strength improvement. So this is just saying that just like all my other things, if I run across the map, I get some stamina. If I throw things, I get throw skill. If I shoot things, I get accuracy skill. Yeah, if I do psionics, I should get psionic skill. So we're going to keep that up. Scroll. Alternate movement methods. Don't need any alternate movement methods. Enable strafing, running, and independent tank turret movement. So, you know, when holding control, so I could be moving one way and shoot another. I'll leave my facings the way they are. Override the line of fire. Absolutely. I find this to be key in the fight. I did this many times in the UFO Defense run where some guy's sitting behind a tree. All right, fine. Well, I'll do a control click and shoot him anyway, and it would shoot, you know, I'd have to take the tree down, so I'd have to hit the tree, destroy it, and then I have to hit him with another round. But at least it gave me the chance to clear the way with fire if I wanted to get to whatever it was I wanted. Like, for example, there was a guy in a house. I could shoot the walls away to open up the line of fire for other guys to shoot into the house and kill him. Skip the next turn screen. No. Suppress panic messages for aliens. Aliens have morale. The more of them that you kill, the lower their morale goes, and eventually they panic. And their panic could be drop their weapon and run. It could be just fire off the weapon and spray it in the area, which could end up killing some of their own guys. If they fail their morale without this on, it would give you a message saying, alien panicked, alien panicked. Don't tell me he panicked unless I see him panic. I can actually tell quite often that they did panic. One, because I can hear them firing and there's no fire coming on my screen, so I know they panicked because they don't fire otherwise. Or I come into an area and I see a weapon sitting on the ground. I'm like, oh, this guy, he panicked. He dropped his weapon. He made a run for it. So now I know I have an alien without a weapon. Important. And can they bleed to death? Well, God damn it, I can. So can you. So that'll take care of all of our mods. So we've got the options for the game, our mods. Then we would drop into the new game. We pick up our difficulty. We're going to be going into veteran. Come back and join me in the next episode. We'll talk about that. If you want to play along, good luck. Take care. Bye-bye.
Creeping through the shadows and the corners of your mind. I go where the wind blows. I run but I don't hide. I hear the call of the wild, whispering the name. No, I can't be tamed. My heart belongs to the night. I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm a lone wolf. 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 I'm a